I'm Tyler Green. I'm the editor of Modern Art Notes, the columnist for Modern Painters magazine, and I am the executive producer and the host of the Modern Art Notes podcast. The 5 works I've nominated for the 2D shortlist are Robert Coombs's Disabilities and Sexuality, which is on view at Fountain Street Church. It's a really smart, touching investigation of an intersection that who among us thinks about often, how those who are disabled have in their own minds, in our minds, presence as sexual beings, as people who have kind of a multi-dimensional existence. I think often when we see disability, we think disability and we don't think of sexuality, and this is a piece that encourages us to think about each other more fully. The second piece I've selected is a painting by Connor Foy titled Eastview 1. It's on view at Pub 43. It's a small painting that mixes abstract and representational elements. It mixes abstract and representational elements, but the representational element initially appears to be somewhat abstract, and then as kind of the eye fills in the negative space in the figure, it becomes clear that it's a human, or was a human, it's not clear, lying prone, perhaps injured, perhaps sleeping. Something about the implication of space and the white ground, the black abstract bars at the top and to the right of the painting suggests something having gone wrong. And that moment of appearing to discover that something may have gone wrong and not being sure what, or if indeed that's correct, really holds the gaze and helps us or encourages us to think our way through the painting. The third piece I've selected is Gudmundur Thordarsson's Father's Fathers at Sitelab. It fills one of the little side rooms at Sitelab, pieces in vitrines mostly. There's a sculptural element and works on paper that appear to be representations of these little sculpted, seemingly anthropological objects that Thordarssson has made. They're really well done. They kind of mediate between what we might expect from a field drawing by a natural historian, but they also exist absolutely outside that as just really beautifully made washes on paper. The fourth piece I've selected is Alois Floggers Habitat at Sitelab. Like a lot of contemporary art today, it's a piece that mixes 2D elements, 3D elements, an element that asks the audience to perform within it, to physically step on the piece and to enter the piece. So it's a work that like a lot of contemporary practice, fits in a lot of different categories. I've selected it because there are several vitrines at Sitelab which feature a strong 2D element, and those are works in which there's a black canvas or screen stretched around a traditional stretchers that you would expect to see behind a painting. And Kronschlager has altered that canvas by pushing through it perhaps with his fist or maybe some other construction in a way that addresses both the history of 20th and early 21st century painting in a way that gets at the way painting has progressed from kind of a merely flat object on a wall that's four-sided to being multi-sided and to extending out into the room, but also that addresses his interest in natural history and the way natural history is presented, which is in the rest of the installation. The fifth piece I've selected is Laura Robertson's Identity Process, Kings Queens at Fountain Street Church. It's a series of photographs installed on a grid that questions our expectations of both gender and representations of biblical figures, specifically Christ, and how we are used to seeing Christ in art, particularly Catholic art, in a very specific way. The piece includes both an alternate way of suggesting gender constructs, but also encourages us to question the very genders we assign to religious thought and representation.